You're watching CBTV.
It's the Bodyplex Review with special guest Computer Steve, presented by CBI, Maxis Express Designs, and Jerks Jerky and Skins. Now, your host, Bodyplex.
Hello and welcome to CBTV and the Bodyplex Review, presented by CBI, Maxis Express Designs, and Jerks Jerky and Skins. CBI is Company Businesses Inc. Your company is our business. I'm your host, Bodyplex. As always, via satellite feed all the way from southeastern USA, we have the one and only Computer Steve. How's it going, Steve?
Going good here. How you doing, Raj?
Doing good. Had a ravioli.
Cleaned up the ravioli?
I cleaned it up. So here at the Bodyplex Review, the format is simple. One audio review, one video review. Today on audio we have Farrah Abraham's My Teenage Dream Ended. And over on video, the 2006 blockbuster adventure hit, 300. Now we have listened, we have watched, and now we'll give our reviews out of 10. Add those totals together and divide in half to get our official, unbiased, Company Business Incorporated approved rating for each piece. The goal here is to review everything, not just anything. If you have any suggestions or if you'd like to submit to be featured in the CBTV Bodyplex Review, please reach out at our general email with subject CBTV to companybusinessesinc@gmail.com. So we've broken everything down. You ready to go, Steve?
Absolutely, Raj.
Alright, so let's get on down to the audio review. We have the star of Axeman 2 Overkill, Omaha, Nebraska's own Farrah Abraham, My Teenage Dream Ended. Now this album was released in August of 2012 with an accompanying New York Times bestseller book of the same name. The book chronicles her teenage pregnancy and the problems she faced during the time. The music album is a companion work to her autobiography, paralleling its themes. Each of the 10 songs shares a title with a chapter of her book. Now right off the bat, I'm just gonna throw it out there. I love a concept album. How do you feel about that, Steve?
I think it was very cohesive, well put together.
Agreed.
I think it mirrored the turmoil that she was going through in her life, probably at the time of recording.
Big highs for me. Not a lot of lows. I didn't really get too far into the subject matter myself, so I tried to come into this with like a clean head. I didn't want to cloud it up with any preconceived notions of this character, Farrah Abraham.
It was interesting. From track one, I think it kind of throws your expectations off. And it takes a few tracks to really settle in for me personally. But halfway through, you start to realize how genius this is in a way.
Oh yeah. I mean, you mentioned that first song, The Phone Call That Changed My Life, which could be renamed to the song that changed my life. So it's some real cool lyrics that I was hearing. I can only put so much into a song. That is a fourth wall break, a meta, but you'll wake you right up.
Really defragging her whole experience.
Oh, absolutely. I heard that and I went, what's going on here? You're speaking to me. Which, a lot of great artists would do, John Lennon, Prince. Before the show, Steve and I were kind of talking about this cool synth song. Do you want to talk about that one on my own?
Oh, absolutely. That was a big standout track, and bold of them to put it so late in the album, like a little treat for you.
Oh, great. Let's take a little snippet of that one.
I'm the husband and the sweet. I know that we're wanting Movie star Farrah, I wish you could be with me.
That's a great one.
All you need to launch a color
Let's just clip off of that one. I'm getting commercialized here. You know, there's lots of different styles on this album. You got that dubstep, some dance, some rap, some trance, some pop themes, techno, EDM, and even some ballads.
I would actually like to touch on the ballad if we have time.
Please.
Some of that was honestly probably one of my gems as far as lyrical standpoint. The back and forth one, liar, liar, we're fighting not, we're fighting not, as plucking an emotional flower. And then another one that completely caught me off guard the first time I heard it, with the repetition of it. I kept anticipating it to come again and couldn't wait, where it said, "Fire I do not desire. I stood there, your pants on fire. I grew numb and just watched. My words couldn't cure."
A great example of why I think this whole album is a gem of its own. Great lyrical work, great breadth of work, and also even throwing in a little Hawaiian outro at the end of the Sunshine State. I wanted to note that. So yeah, this is a great one. I think we both agree there's something, to be said about this album. It might have influenced a little bit of modern music, since we're saying this came out 2012, 9 years ago. And you'd think, when you hear this thing, it's a one-time thing. Maybe it was a great, miracle in the studio where artists came together and they made magic happen of some sort. But no, I think it's actually the Farrah Abraham style. If you go to 2014, let me bring this up for you. Blowin', which was one of the only two singles that were released by Farrah Abraham after My Teenage Dream ended. Check out this. Great stuff, and you can really tell that there's lots going on there, in the same vein as the album. This wasn't just a happenstance. This is the Farrah Abraham signature style. All right, let's go on. Let's move on to our lows here. Not enough music. Farrah Abraham released this, great chronicle of her life, side by side with a great New York Times best-selling book, and then a couple singles, and that was it. And I think that there's a lot more in the old chamber for Farrah, if I do say so myself. No letdown tracks for me. What do you feel about on your end, Steve?
The only criticism that I have is I wasn't huge on the dubstep intro to the album because
the dubstep intro.
I didn't feel that it was a showcase of what was to come, and maybe it was pandering to the audience.
To each their own. Dubstep might not be your cup of tea, and that's not your fault, Steve.
It's just a bit of an overload in my system.
Absolutely, and great that there is such a diverse range of styles on the album, so they've attached dubstep to the name Abraham. Let's move on here. We're going to go ahead and do our individual ratings, and these are 10 out of 10 ratings, whatever we're feeling at the time, and I'm going to give it, my official Bodyplex review of 9 out of 10 New York Times bestsellers. How are you feeling, Steve?
I want to give it a 8 out of 10 megabytes on my end. The Sunshine State, just unbelievable tracks. There's nothing quite like it.
So I'm going to run my numbers here. We're going to get our unbiased CBI approved rating. That's official, folks. 8.5 New York Times best-selling megabytes out of 10 for Farrah Abraham. My Teenage Dream ended. 10 out of 10 in my opinion. Only I'm going to take a point off just for not releasing anything else. Farrah, if you're out there, let's get some more albums. Let's get some EPs. Let's get some demos. I don't care. I honestly, you can send me a phone voice recording. So that being said, 8.5 out of 10, CBI approved. Farrah Abraham, My Teenage Dream ended. We're gonna cut the commercial and we'll be right back with our video review of 300.
This February, Company Businesses presents Loom. We are Luminous Fragments shining in the dark on all digital streaming services and audio cassette. This album has it all. Blistering live drums, ambient soundscapes, lush analog synthesizers, and so much more. Pre-order the album today, stream and download it on the 1st, and make sure to keep an eye out for the limited edition cassette tape releasing mid-February, direct from Lou at lousounds.bandcamp.com or through Company Businesses at companybusinesses.bandcamp.com. Prices not include shipping and handling. For more updates, follow Company Businesses Incorporated on Patreon at patreon.com/companybusinesses and follow us at Company Businesses on Instagram and at @cobiz_ on Twitter. All products available from the artist directly or through CBI affiliated distribution service. 100% of earnings and expenses go to artists who for any business running this release. Please contact us. Subject line help at companybusinesses@gmail.com.
Alright, we're back from commercial break. We're gonna move on to our video review. This week we have 300. Now this movie came out in 2006. It was directed by Zack Snyder, starring P.S. I Love You's Gerard Butler, From Tears of the Sun and Hidalgo, Pete Mensah, and Michael Fassbender, one of my personal favorites, starring Jonah Hex. All great movies from all these actors, all movies we may review in the future. So let's get right into it. How'd you feel about this movie, Steve, just on a overall?
I had high hopes coming in. Stylistically, it's completely original. There's nothing quite like it. But throughout the course of the film, I had diminishing interest in everything that was happening.
I'm just gonna say right off the bat, I agree with Steve. There's some stinkers here. The first 20 seconds of the movie, you're getting these real cool blood titles splattered across the screen. I'm talking juicy red, and then right after that, lightning. It might even have preceded it. There could have been lightning before it. And then a slow pan down to just a bunch of skulls. So if you're into that kind of stuff, that real cool stuff, you're not going to be disappointed in the first 20-30 seconds of this movie.
Those weren't just any skulls. Those were baby skulls.
This is going to be my first official stinker of this video. The baby skulls right into this vicious boy beating of Leonidas, the main character. He's getting beaten. So we get these baby skulls, and then we get boy beating. I mean, it was vicious. How'd you feel about that? All those boys get beaten.
I think it was vicious, like you said, and I think at one point murdered the other boy. Just children murdering each other to make them tough.
And I get it. You're trying to be, faithful to the time. This movie is it's sort of more akin to Lord of the Rings than it is to like a Rome or a Gladiator. And so that boy beating wasn't, to me, it seemed a little unnecessary. And I don't know about you folks, but I don't like watching little kids get beaten. Even if it's on a movie with skulls and lightning and blood. I'm gonna move right on. These stinkers are gonna pile up, but I want to stress to you folks at home that the graphics are so cool. I'm gonna contradict myself with this next one. Aggressively high contrast on this movie, almost hard to see if you're not running, on HD. I mean, you might as well go home.
There are definitely moments where it looks like it could be video game graphics. It looks like Ratchet and Clank.
You couldn't have said that would be better. It honestly looked like an Xbox game. So like I was watching I had for The Witcher 3. Specifically some great foot and toe makeup work on this one. And as you know, Roman Spartan people, they all wore these gladiator sandals. But these things show a lot of toe. You can't help but notice, those toes are gross and filthy. You know, it's not like they're out walking around in the mud. There's somebody doing that work. Well,
And I think that was a bold choice, especially maybe that's a subtle, direction of how tough the Spartans are. Not only are they sending their children out to beat each other to death, but also all their warriors have to wear open-toe sandals into battle.
absolutely. Let's move on. I'm going to go right into one of my shining gem moments, which was this really cool rock climbing scene when Leonidas is going to talk to these mystics. Let me see if I can pull that up too. Right? I really love this scene. There's this awkward little jump. Son of the great slow-mo in this movie. There he is. Doesn't seem like it's that far away.
We have been expecting you.
I love that scene there. This is one of my shining gems. Great performance.
Hello, Leonidas. We have been expecting you.
Yeah.
And super unnecessary tongue
licking.
tongue play, tongue shot.
We have been expecting you.
It's pretty scary. And kind of alludes to the monsters that they kind of show in this movie.
I couldn't keep my eyes off the moon in those shots. It was huge.
You talking about that giant moon?
Biggest movie moon I've ever seen.
Kind of half stinker territory for me. And, those kinds of things are really what bring me out of the film, make me not believe these monsters and ghouls and goblins and things, and kind of bring me back to my couch. I can't personally keep up with the story, but the movie has so much style. And some great performances, so I'm going to move on to that character, Ephiates. You get introduced to this character, and this was when I full-on Precious Rose of the movie. And that is the performance by Andrew Tiernan as Ephiates. You might know Andrew from his performance as the Paris vampire from Interview with the Vampire. And his performance as Ephiates won him the ugliest character and favorite hunchback character in IMDb user polls. On the favorite hunchback, he just beat out Gru, but right behind Notre Dame. Just a really knockout performance. Like I said, my precious Rez. Again, how'd you feel about Andrew's performance as Ephiates, Steve?
Oh, I thought it was wonderful. Tragic, even.
Heartbreaking, He wasn't accepted by the Spartans. Leonidas, he turned him down?
Yeah, he turned him down. Only because he was disfigured,
Ableist.
His one dream is to fight
with these Spartans, and he'll die fighting alongside these guys. And a lot of these Spartans are dying throughout the movie. It's not like anybody really cares.
The name of the movie was constantly changing. It was 265, 153. Though they really showed more than 20 of them on screen at the same time. How many abs can you find?
Maybe that was 300 abs.
Right.
300 8-pack abs. I'm gonna go on and just go on record and just say one of my shiny gems for this movie was just these fight scenes. When you're done watching 300, you might be saying, Matrix 2? I think that's what's gonna, pull these stinkers out of the mud for me.
Yeah. The scene where they were stacking the dead bodies and building a wall out of it.
Well, I can say for sure, when I was there, I wouldn't want to be a fly on the wall there.
I can only imagine the smell. Well, definitely the Precious Rose for me was Precious Rose is Rodrigo Santoro's depiction of Xerxes, the main antagonist in the film. You might remember him from the movie Rio as a soccer announcer. Only 6'3" in real life, but you would almost imagine that he was 7 foot or 8 foot. Unbelievable.
I agree, 100%. Really great. I'm gonna definitely be watching Rio. That performance of Xerxes kind of like pulled me back away from the Sparks a little bit. Kind of made me think maybe I like Xerxes. Maybe I want Xerxes side of this whole, us versus them thing. Oh, I did have a runner-up, Precious Rose, for this, and I got a clip as well. And that my Precious Rose runner-up, I'll do a half Precious Rose here. Is the axe arm guy from this. Oh man, I couldn't get enough of this. And you know what? If you really want to just get a roundabout experience of 300, just look online. Look on YouTube. Go to YouTube.com. Look up 300 2006 epic scene. And you're gonna get this really cool scene. Opens up with that signature slow-mo. Then it shows some bad guys with some whips. They're getting whipped in slow-mo by their own bad guys. I didn't really understand that one. Some bad guys were whipping their own bad guys, right? Let's get a commercial in here. Let's get those commercials. So yeah, here's this, my favorite character. Besides EVAT, arm axe guy.
Is that what he's credited as?
No, I think his name is the Executioner.
Okay. Do they go home at the end of their shift?
That's what I'm asking.
Does the Executioner ever get a chance to relax? Maybe have some fun?
Yeah. Maybe go out with Xerxes, shoot some hoops. I don't know what they were doing back then. He has a job. It is cutting off heads. But does he chop down trees? Probably get like a fresh shredded lettuce situation going on with him real quick. Like, I'd love to have the Executioner in the kitchen. You know what I mean? It's a style. So let's get right into the ratings here. I'm going to give this one a solid 7 out of 10 300s. How are you feeling, Steve?
I wasn't really feeling it at all. It felt like old chain mails, spam-fisted. Despite the visual successes, I have to go low with it. I think 4 solid megabytes. I can't do that again.
I gave it a 7 out of 10 300. Steve, one is megabyte stable, gives it a 4 out of 10. CBI's official unbiased rating of 300 by Zack Snyder is 5.5 out of 10.
I say that's fair. It wasn't very good, but it was super fun. How do you feel about that 5.5, Steve?
That seems a little generous, but that's the official score. That's where we rest.
Alright, now that we've wrapped up our reviews, we're going to move on to the ending segment of our show. And this week we have a raffle presented by Jerks, Jerky, and Skins. Today's CBI investment branch raffle is brought to you by Jerks, Jerky, and Skins. Searching for that spice that is thrice as nice? Well, look no further. Jerks, Jerky, and Jerk Skins will satisfy that hot tooth for any season. With 10 invigorating jerk varieties, Jerks, Jerky, and Skins is an exploration in heat and flavor potential. Grab a pack of jerks wherever most groceries are sold. We're going to do this raffle. We extend it to the first 10 investors on our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/companybusinesses Inc. A lucky winner of this raffle from our official raffle bucket. Let's go ahead and turn that baby on. And that gets all of you shaking up in there. You can hear we'll be getting an exclusive test pressing of the Lipschitz Chevron, which will be coming out on company businesses in April. How do you feel about that, Steve? It's pretty cool.
That's cool. Very cool.
Pretty cool there. Only 5 in existence. And let's get it on. Let's get it going. Let's get some applause. Get on here. Yeah. Our first winner of the Lipschitz Lipschitz, Chevron Raffle, presented by Gargantuan Skins. Partner, Greta O'Drezen. Greta, you have won a limited edition, I'm talking 1 of 5 here, Lipschitz Chevron Test Pass Vinyl Records. I mean, that's pretty lucky, right?
Absolutely.
But that's not it, folks. We're not stopping there. I still got this raffle bucket, and it's still going. So we're gonna take it one last time. We got another test pressing right here. And we're gonna be giving away to another lucky investor, shareholder, partner, or member of the church. So let's try that up again, folks. Let's do it. Let's get a little bit more. Let's get it going, everybody. Alright. Alright. Second and final order. Raffle. Trista Carter, investor. Now, everybody, that means the raffle's over. We will be reaching out to these investors to get their addresses and everything.
So that's it, folks. Thank you all for watching CBTV and the Bodyplex review. Thanks to Computer Steve for generously donating time and his bandwidth to this program, as always. Thanks, Steve. Thanks to CBI for making this happen and for everything that they do. And for you at home, thanks to you for the company. Until next time, I'm Bodyplex. Steve, we'll see you later.
Thank you so much.